Tonight on Size Eyes on the Skies.
Well, it felt a bit of a heat wave early this morning, but temperatures started to drop as those wind conditions started to pick up. That's going to lead to some very cold conditions ahead, and we might have another chance of snow coming on Saturday. I'll have more on that later in the show.
Plus, Anthony has your national forecast, all that and more as this Valentine's Day edition of Size Eyes on the Skies starts right now.
Live from Studio 171 in Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State Meteorology Department team of meteorologists brings you the latest weather from around the country and out your front door. Iowa State's longest running television program and the only live weather broadcast on campus starts right now. This is Size Eyes on the Skies.
Well, welcome back to Size Eyes. I'm now joined by Garrett. Garrett, today it started off pretty warm outside. It was actually pretty nice outside, but it's been dropping like a rock temperature-wise.
It definitely has. Yeah, I had a couple meteorology friends back in Cedar Rapids. They were showing temperatures around, I think, mid-40s in eastern parts
I know
of
down
eastern
in
Iowa. Yeah.
Keokuk we saw 54 degrees for temperature today.
That was toasty for what it's starting to feel like now.
Yeah.
Those winds picked up definitely, and those temperatures have been plummeting since.
It doesn't make good for a Valentine's Day evening for those people out there that are out for their dates tonight.
Your hair is going to get all messed up too now because the winds are just picking up too.
Yeah.
And it's just truly unfortunate. And but yeah,
I don't really have to worry about my hair.
Yeah, temperatures are going to be dropping, as I mentioned earlier, really cold right now as it is. That snow is going to return on Saturday, even though it's starting to seem like we have snow about every 3 days. And fortunately, it doesn't seem like it would be too much, but I'll certainly talk a little more about that later in my show.
All right, now tonight's weather story. On this day in 1990, a significant winter storm produced freezing rain and snow across Iowa on February 14th through the 15th. The storm struck the Des Moines metro area during the evening rush hour on Valentine's Day, causing more than 250 car accidents in only 3 hours. Storm total snowfall amounts included 5.2 inches at Des Moines, 6.2 inches at Iowa City, 7 inches at Bloomfield, and Dubuque saw 7.5 inches. And here's Anthony with a look at what's happening around the country.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Happy Thursday to you and a happy Valentine's Day. We started off the day on a very warm note, relatively speaking, in the 30s or 40s for most of us. But taking a look here at the map right now, 11 degrees in Minneapolis, 25 in Kansas City, so this Arctic air is cooling us off. I'll let you know if you're going to need to stay cuddled up with your significant other on the other side of this break.
Welcome back. Now here's Anthony with a look at what's happening around the nation.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Like I said, we started off on a fairly warm note today. Parts of the country got into the 30s and 40s, and that's saying something when that's warmer for this time of year, but we'll take it where we can. 25 degrees in Kansas City right now, 30 degrees in Albany, low 40s for the northeastern portions of the country where it's a lot warmer and where personally I'd love to be right now. 58 in Montgomery, 66 in New Orleans, a very warm 70 degrees. Good evening to you in Houston. Taking a look here in the southwest portions of the country, 48 in Vegas, a little chilly in Cedar City at 36 degrees with some very cold air in the northwestern portions of the country here. 33 in Missoula, 12 degrees in Billings. So it's a perfect night to stay inside by the fire with your significant other, maybe put on a movie or something like that. Satellite and radar right now, we are fairly quiet across the Midwest here. You notice though the clouds are fairly light here. This is going to allow us to really cool off as we go into the night tonight here in the Midwest with just some snow working its way through here in Minneapolis. Bigger mess out here for the western portions of the country. And as we zoom it in here, I'll show you, you can see with the change in elevation here, these are the mountains where we're getting a lot more snow in the higher elevations. And then where it's a little bit lower, Las Vegas, just getting out of this rain right now. Just some rain showers overspreading here. Phoenix getting in on this, so likely a soggy drive home out in the western portions of the country. Watches and warnings right now, pretty lit up in some portions of the Midwest here. Winter weather advisory stretching from St. Louis up towards Billings. Winter storm warnings for the higher elevations up there. And this is for probably 2 to 5 inches of snow here in the Midwest. St. Louis is going to be getting it on this. Kansas City. I think we in the Midwest here will get on some of this here in Iowa. And as we time this out, here's the timestamp, Friday at 12:30. Here's this kind of clipper system working its way through Billings all the way down towards St. Louis. And as this pushes its way through here towards the end of the week, I would plan on some rush hour problems as you're heading home for your Friday drive. Plan for maybe some snow in portions of the Midwest. Minneapolis looks fairly dry. And here's Saturday as we advance this here throughout the day. Just some snow kind of overspreading the region here. So it's not a huge storm by any means, but a good 2 to 5 inches, I think, for the portions of the Midwest is likely. Here's our travel city forecast. Kansas City, Missouri here. Friday, 100% chance of snow. I think it's going to be a fairly messy day on Friday with highs in the 20s, warming it up into the low 30s by Saturday and Sunday, and then hanging right around there for Monday, Tuesday, and into next week.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Well, tonight's trivia question is, when is a time when the atmosphere is romantic? Is it A, kissing jets, B, occluded fronts, or C, sun halos? We'll have your answer coming right up, and now let's have a look at the week ahead with Garrett.
Thank you, Matt. Thought I'd change the graphic, but guess not. Anyway, well, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we had a heat wave today. We had, once again, colder temperatures coming back in. Wind's picking up, it's going to feel colder. And as Anthony started to mention, that snow off to the west will be making its way here by Saturday. I'll have more on that after this break. Well, welcome back. Today we had a bit of a warm-up this morning. Temperatures that we saw in Ames were right around 40 degrees. Parts of western portions of the state, you guys didn't quite kiss 30. But overall, in the eastern portions of the state, you guys almost saw mid-40s and possibly 50s in a couple spots as well. So it was really nice warm-up for this time of year. But unfortunately, that is not the case anymore. Current temperatures right now sitting at about 20 degrees. A little less than that here in Ames, 13 degrees. Winds out of the northwest starting to pick up. We're seeing 18 miles per hour with feels like temperature right around -4, and those are only going to drop as we continue into the later portions of the evening tonight. Temperatures across the state as well. We're seeing single digits up to the north, and then low teens in the southern portions of the state, and a couple 20s off in the eastern portions of the state of Iowa as well. Those winds, as I mentioned, are picking up. We have really windy parts of the state up the north. Mason City right around 30. I think that's a bit too high, but that's all right. Some of these stations just don't seem to work right. Vaquero over on 24, Sioux City at right around 28. So these winds are really picking up. That's going to be driving that wind chill value down rather significantly, as we can see that right away. Feels like -4 here in Ames, as I mentioned earlier. Up in the northwestern portions of the state, you guys are feeling almost -20 degrees. It's starting to feel real cold into the teens as well off the eastern portions of the state. With a couple of watches and advisories in effect as well. We do have a wind chill advisory up in the northwestern portions of the state. As we saw, temperatures are getting into those upper negative teens. And then we do have a winter weather advisory as well in the northeastern portions of the state. In satellite radar, we did see a couple flurries earlier this morning as well, but those clouds started to clear out, which is where we saw that heat up a bit. But as Anthony mentioned earlier as well, when we do see those clouds clearing, that does allow temperatures to drop rather rapidly, especially for the evening hours. And that's exactly what we'll be seeing as we head into tonight. Temperatures are going to continue to plummet early tomorrow, or tonight into tomorrow morning. Ames could see -12 degrees for a feel-like temperature, and that's just going to drop as well. For about the start of your classes, people are starting to walk to class. It's going to be feeling fairly cold right here in Ames, right around -9, and across the state as well. It's kind of same story. And then as we head into the later portions of Friday, we're going to heat back up what it feels like above 0. So that'll be a bit of a nice little warm up there. Futurecast kind of seeing those clear clouds start to clear out. And this is where this little bit of a warm up comes in Friday night. We do see more clouds roll in. And then the flurries start on those southwestern portions of the state. Again, Saturday, most of the day, be clearing out. So it'll be a really nice day for Saturday, but by Saturday night, where we're starting to see those snow start to really move on in. And that's going to continue into Sunday, and then we're going to be seeing that start to end by the afternoon hours on Sunday. Now, the snowball estimates for this right now, we're sitting at about right around 3 inches here in Ames. More northern portions of the state, we could be seeing more, up around possibly 5 inches. I don't expect much to accumulate out of this, but 2 inches does seem fairly reasonable, as Anthony had mentioned earlier as well. They're getting it more off to the west, but here we're going to be seeing a little bit less. But for tonight here, at least all we're going to have to deal with for now is cold conditions, Very windy. Gusts we could be seeing up around 30 miles an hour, so it's definitely going to feel cold for tonight, so make sure you bundle up. As Anthony mentioned, maybe just a movie for tonight. Don't want to be out and about too much. But for tomorrow, we'll be seeing increasing clouds. It's going to feel like 11 degrees, but it's going to feel much colder, possibly down to -20, at least here at Iowa State. Extended forecast, we're going to be feeling very cold as we move into Saturday night. We could see that snowfall chance. Sunday is where we're going to really be seeing it for most of the day. And then we're going to be heating up or cooling down a little bit by Monday and Tuesday, and another chance of snow possible on Wednesday.
All right, thanks, Garrett. Well, let's take another look at tonight's trivia question. When is a time when the atmosphere is romantic? Is it A, kissing jets, B, occluded fronts, or C, sun halos? So, what do you guys think? I thought this is kind of a funny question because it plays weather and Valentine's Day against each other.
You know, they leave out the Valentine's aspect of meteorology in our classes, but I think I'm going to go with C, the sun halos. Just
okay.
just a fun guess, you know.
What do you think, Garrett?
Well, I mean, I can see why occluded fronts would be added there, because it's like when the two of them get together.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be funny. I don't know if I've ever heard of kissing jets. I'd be surprised if that's it. But yeah, it'd either be B or C. But I might slide and hit B on that one. Just.
I think I missed this one in class.
Well, I think both you guys were actually wrong. Our answer is kissing jets.
What?
If you,
No.
You both took in 311, and that if you remember the jet streams up at 300 millibars, if they touch, that's
See,
called
Dave
kissing
never
jets.
talked about that. We never heard about that in 311.
We might have to email our professors on this
Well,
one. You know,
okay.
We'll get back to you.
It's something that's pretty cool in the atmosphere if it ever happens. And so we just have like another round of snow moving in the Midwest. So do you guys think this is our last one, or is it just going to keep coming over and over?
You know, statistically, February is actually the snowiest month that we do have. Most people think it's December and January, but really it's February and March is where we see most of the snowfall. I don't think this is going to be the last one. We've got many more to come,
Well,
unfortunately.
it seems like we've just been in this pattern where we keep getting these little systems, not necessarily huge snows, but I think like this weekend, a good 2 to 5 inches just going to pile up on our total. So
Yep.
It just-
It's a little accumulation.
It just seems like I saw something yesterday. It looks like the month of March is also going to be pretty cold as well. So that's sad to say for spring break and spring coming. And that darn groundhog in Pennsylvania, excuse me, was wrong again. So we'll just have to see. You never know about the weather.
I mean,
Really.
we're
That's
all,
why
we're all weathermen. We're all always
Yeah.
wrong. We're always
That's
wrong.
why we're studying it. So, well, that concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can find every show on YouTube or under our SciSites channel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.